Star, I love when we start off. One of my favorite things to do is be in the green room. There's no green here. And obviously, you've got the wonderful blue behind you. But we sent out your bio, okay? It's very exhaustive, and we're behind the scenes. So do me a favor, if you would. Do you mind taking a minute just for you and I and give me the backstory, like who is Star and what is Star up to these days?
Who is Star and what is Star up to? Shay, the bottom line is I am a performer. See, I believe that anytime that you speak, you are performing, and any place that you speak, that is your stage. And I have been performing on stages my whole life. I started out as a child actress. You may not have known that, but I did TV shows. I did commercials. I did plays. I even did a couple of movies, and I wasn't, terribly famous, but I did all right. I did all right. And the thing is, I absolutely loved it. I loved being on the stage and positively impacting an audience. It was when I was on the stage or when I was in front of a camera, I was in passion and on purpose. It was phenomenal. But at the height of my career, there was a lot of drama going on in my family. I mean, the pressure of having a child in show business, it was wearing on us, and it looked to me like it was tearing the family apart. And so when I turned 18, I decided that's it. I'm done. No more acting. I would never be on the stage again. I would never be in front of a camera. I took that little girl and all of her passion and her joy, and I put her up on a shelf and put her away. Now, maybe you know something about that, Shay, or maybe the audience knows something about, having a purpose, having a passion and putting it aside, putting it on pause. And that's what I did. I put that away. I didn't even think about it. I went on with my life, and I had a pretty good life. I got married. I had a couple of kids. I became an attorney. Life was good. Now, it's true. I never had that passion, that spark that I had when I was younger, but I was relatively happy until I wasn't. As the years went on, I felt that pull, that emptiness, that I didn't have the passion, I didn't have the spark, and I just wanted to get that back, and I was really depressed over the whole thing. And I remember going to a seminar, and at this seminar were amazing speakers. I mean, all the speakers of the day. Brian Tracy was there, Michael Gerber, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Les Brown was there. And I remember sitting back, and I'm watching these speakers, these amazing speakers, and I'm watching how they're impacting the audience. They are getting that audience locked in, getting them lit up. They are transforming lives. They are transforming the energy in the room. And I watched that and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be on the stage. I want to do that. I want to have that impact on an audience. And it was then, Shay, that I finally remembered that little girl, the one who loved being on the stage, the one who was in passion and on purpose. And I took that little girl and I brought her back to center stage. And I decided that in that moment, I was going back to the stage. But this time, I was going back as a speaker and a trainer. And that was about 13 years ago. And since then, I have trained all over this country. I have trained, Shay, in 47 states. I've done over 6,000 hours of training and speaking. I've spoken in London as well, and I absolutely love what I do. So the message here, if there is a message here, that message is that it's never too late. It is never too late to rekindle that dream, to spark that passion. You may have put your passion on pause, but you get to click the play button anytime you want. And I believe that I'm a full example of that, because not only am I on the stage as a speaker, Shay, I'm back on the stage in plays and acting. I actually am part of an improv group also that plays around the city. So full circle back on the stage.
Wow, an improv group that plays in the city. We got to put a pin in that. I gotta get that now. Now, you talk about own your stage, which we're going to talk about, and I know that this is like this not new brand, but something that you're kind of putting to the forefront of what you're doing. So take a moment while we're in the green room as you and I talking, and congratulations for finding that little girl. I want to find that little boy and bring him back to me as well. By the way, you so inspire me. You really do, Star. But since we're behind the scenes, can you give me a peek and tell me what does this whole own your stage mean? What's the mission? Who's it for? What's this whole thing about?
Well, here's the deal. So, as I said, I believe that every time you speak, it's a performance, and every place you speak is a stage. And like I said, I've been on stages all my life. Even when I was an attorney, when I was an attorney, I was on stage, and the courtroom was my stage. And if you're a doctor, then the doctor's office or the hospital room, that's your stage. If you're a teacher, your classroom, there's your stage. If you're a speaker, your stage is everywhere, right? And if you are a coach or a consultant, your stage can be anywhere. And for today, in what we're going through right now, for most people, the stage is right here on the camera. What I found is that many speakers, many coaches, entrepreneurs, business professionals, they have trouble getting the performance that they want and actually owning and commanding the stage. And so I take what I've learned in 30 years and 10 years as an actress, how to bring the drama, how to use stories, how to bring humor. What I've learned as an attorney, meaning how to get to the point, being clear and concise with the evidence to back it up. And what I learned as a trainer, how to teach people so that they learn, they retain, and they can implement that. And so that is what I do. I help people create stellar performances so that they can own the stage. And I know the question was how? How do you own the stage? Or what does it mean to own the stage? Mm-hmm. To own the stage means that you show up bold and self-assured. To own the stage means that you are confident, that you are standing in your gifts and you are embracing them. To own the stage means that you are the spokesperson for your business. You are the advocate for your cause. To own the stage means that you are enlightening people. It means that you are touching people. To own the stage means that you are changing lives. Because I believe that when we speak, we have power. There are power in our words, right? And for some people, you say, if you're a business professional, you've got your boardroom, you've got your conference room, you might be owning the stage there. But for many of us, our stage is just that one-on-one conversation, right? If you are a CEO, you're going to have a one-on-one conversation with your employee, maybe. Or if you're an employee, you're going to have a one-on-one conversation with your boss. As parents, right? We have those one-on-one conversations with our children. That is our stage. And in every situation and on every stage, we want to bring the best that we have to offer. We want to do star performance. So how do you do that? I got 3 steps when I teach it, and they are what I call the 3 B's of public speaking. The 3 B's of owning your stage, yes? The first B is to be prepared. The second B is to be organized. And then the third B is to be engaging. And I go through each one of those and help people be those things so that they can own their stage.
Well, you can't just leave us out there hanging now. You can't just give us the B, to be prepared, to be organized, and to be engaging, and think we're not going to be like,
that's not enough.
Give us a little bit more. For Eric Heilich that's out there right now, Lucille that's out there, Peg DeShane that's out there, Ellen Gray, thanks for joining, Marvin Mingo, and so many of you are tuning in. You're with the one and only Star. She's here talking about how to own your stage, and I know what you're wondering too. You want to share? You're going to ask her, how do you own the stage in social distancing? You're going to ask her, how do you own the stage when you're online? Yeah, but we got to get the B's, not the B as you know it, but the B's, okay? The real B, the real B is in the house. Do you mind, can we slow down and then we'll speed up. Can you take a moment? And I know in the time we have, can you kind of unpackage the three B's just so as folks are listening right now, they get just a sense of it? I know you can't do the full training in the time we have, but you throw it out there. I'm like, wow, what are they?
What are they? Well, I generally do this in a 2-day workshop, but we'll shorten it up a little bit right here. So, 3 B's of owning the stage. The first B is to be prepared, meaning you need to know why the heck you are speaking. My theory is if you don't know why you are speaking, then you should not be speaking. Now, you've all had that situation where people are talking just to talk, right? And you know, owning the stage is more than just being on a stage and opening your mouth and talking, right? We need to be prepared. What is your purpose? What are you there for? Are you trying to inform? Do you want to give me some information? That's cool. That's cool. Are you trying to motivate me? Do you want me to do something? Yes. Are you trying to inspire me, to make me feel better about myself? Are you here to train me? Right? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to feel? What do you want me to think? And then what do you want me to do later, right? Because sometimes it's, I want you to do this right now, but sometimes I'm teaching you something. I want you to be able to do it later. We need to know. We need to be prepared so that we know what our purpose is, because that's going to drive how we communicate. And if we don't know, they don't know. And if they don't know, if they don't know, yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they don't know what your purpose is, then you're going to lose them. So the first thing is to be prepared. You need to know what your purpose is. You need to know your audience. Who's in the audience, right? Where are they? You know, I do trainings for all kinds of people. I do a lot of corporate training. So sometimes I'm doing a training for doctors. All right, I need to know that because I am going to talk to them a little bit differently. Yes, sometimes the room is attorneys. Sometimes it's upper management, CEO suite. Sometimes I'm talking to frontline employees, and sometimes there's a mixture. I want to know who's in the room so that I can adjust my message so that everyone gets what they need. Right? You have to know about adult learning techniques. Some adults learn differently than children do. You know, children, you teach them something, they take in the information, they're sponges, they believe everything you say, they do what you tell them to do. Grown-ups are not like that. You know, basically you tell a grown-up something and they're like, well, how do you know? How can you prove it? Show me, you know, and if it doesn't relate to their lives, I don't see how that's going to work. So it's important for us to know adult learning behaviors. So we want to know our purpose. We want to know the audience. What do they want? What do they need? There's one thing I learned from my mentor a long time ago. There's a difference between what we want to say and what our audience needs to hear. And for a lot of speakers, it's all about us. It's all about, oh, I want to tell them this and I want to tell them that and I want to get them to do this and me. Yeah. And that's how we lose connection with the audience. What does the audience need? How do they need to hear what you have to say so they will do what you want them to do? What does the audience need? So these are just important things to think about when I talk about being prepared for that. I remember I did a training for a big manufacturing company. It was a sexual harassment training. Mm-hmm. I'm a lawyer. I think I've said that. Yeah. And so a lot of my background is employment litigation, harassment, wrongful termination, all the things that bring us together as a people. So that's what I did. So I was doing a general harassment class, and apparently there had been this big lawsuit. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were extremely bitter. And so I ended up, talking about an issue, how if you're having an issue, you just simply go to HR and HR will take care of it. They lost their freaking minds because apparently the problem was with HR. I didn't know that. Had I known that, I would have skated around that issue, or I would have said something differently. That was like kind of when I first learned to ask that question. What's going on? Why are you bringing me in to have this training? What's happening? So that I don't walk into an ambush. And that was really rough. But I learned a lot, and that's what it's all about. It's about learning. So you want to know where they are, what they've been through, and what they need. So that is your be prepared. I'm going to take a breath.
Your good friend Velton Shaw wants to say what's up to you, by the way.
Hey,
Dwayne Reynolds is out there, by the way. Carol's watching right now, saying, yeah, she's all in right now. So folks are paying very, very close attention. You gave us the first B, and she's trying to give us something that she normally does, like you said, over 2 days. And I didn't know it was over 2 days, so I still asked the question. But that's the type of person Star is. She's here to give. She's here to share. She's here to make sure you walk away with knowing how to own your stage. Take it away, Star.
Absolutely. And, being a trainer, if I have a 2-day presentation, and if my client says, oh, we need that in 1 day, I'm going to give you a 1-day presentation. And sometimes I do it in a 1-hour presentation. So, I can give just as much. But the 2-day is it's my favorite, because people just walk away with a lot of information. And not just information, we do a lot of practice so people get things done. They walk away with a whole new level of confidence. All right. So the second B is to be organized. Now, have you ever been in the audience and there's a speaker and they're not organized? They're sort of all over the place, right? They're like, I got 3 things to share with you. 1, yada, yada, yada. B, yada, yada, yada. Thank you for your time. And what are you thinking, Shay?
What happened to 2 and 3?
What happened to 2 and 3?
Yeah.
That's exactly it, yeah. Right? I have been in trainings like that where I'm like, what? Oh my God. I remember going to this big conference. It was a women's conference. It was 1,500 people in the audience. And they had the keynote speaker, the opening speaker. And I'm watching this speaker ramble. I swear she's rambling. And here's the deal, Shay. Mm-hmm. I have a bit of an ego. I think I'm all that and a bag of chips. I do. I think I'm an excellent, masterful speaker and trainer. I know that. So sometimes when I go in a situation and I see other speakers, I try to tone down my ego. Right? I just tone it down, tone it down, tone it down. And so I'm in there and I'm watching her and I'm thinking, she's terrible. I'm like, no, come on, give it a chance. This is your ego talking. She's all over the place. I actually had to leave the room because it was very disturbing. I get myself together, put my head on right, and I go back in because I want to be supportive, right? I want to be supportive, and it's not all about me. So I go back in, and I'm standing in the back, and it's painful. It's painful to watch. And there was a woman standing next to me, and she says, I don't know how that woman got the job. I'm like, okay, so it's not me. It's not just me. This woman had no structure, no organization to her presentation. She was rambling and it was painful. Here's the deal, Shay. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person.
No, I don't.
I don't think that person will be invited back or invited anywhere. I think the best sign that you've done a fabulous job as a speaker is when you get off the stage and you got 2, 3 other offers. That's the best sign. And I don't think she was getting any offers when she got off. But my point is that you have to be organized. And I generally start with something very, very simple. It's we all learned this in grade school. Opening, body, close. Very simple. But how many people don't do that? They don't do that. It's simple. You need an opening. You need the body. You need the close. Your opening, this is your most important part. And your opening has to be something interesting, right? A lot of people, they will start with, hi, my name is Star. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Okay, that's fine. But I'm telling you, what? That's how much time we have. We have like 7 seconds to grab people's attention. And so that's not necessarily how you want to begin. Oh, this other one people do. It makes me crazy. How y'all doing out there? I can't hear you. You can't hear me because you're not bringing the energy. Okay, I'm going to back up. I have my feelings about that. But the way you start is just very, very important. And you can start with a story. Jump right into the middle of a story. If you've seen Andy Henriquez, if you've seen his goal cast video, the motivational one, he starts right in with a story. You grab the audience; they are in there, they are with you. Another way that you can do that is to start with a statistic. Tell them something. You can ask a question. One of the ways that I generally open up my training is I ask the question. Raise your hand if you woke up in a good mood this morning. You know, I'm bringing the energy. I'm letting them know. I'm setting the energy, setting the stage for the energy. Let me know. And some people are going to raise their hands and some people are not, because some people are like, I'm not getting involved in this. Oh my God, I have been in trainings with people who do not appreciate training, who do not appreciate learning. I've been in these audiences. They don't want to be there. And they're all, there's a rough audience. But I always start with that. Raise your hand if you woke up in a good mood this morning. And I acknowledge, I didn't see everybody's hand. I'm going to ask the alternative question. Raise your hand if you woke up this morning. Yes? It gets a laugh and it gets everybody's hand in the air. So that is my standard opening. And I do that for a couple of reasons. I do that because I want to get their attention, but I do that because I want them to know this is interactive and you will be responding. I've seen people, they do their presentations. They're like, come on, people, it's supposed to be interactive. Don't tell me, the audience, it's supposed to be interactive like that's my job.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's your job. You the speaker. You owning the stage means you own that stage and that audience. Don't put it on me. You do what you need to do to get me involved. Thank you very much. If it's going to be interactive, I'm sorry.
I love it.
It is up to you, the speaker, to be interactive. I've done women's conferences, 200-300 people, and I did it for this organization that had a couple of different regions. Mm-hmm. And when I did the Northeast region, it was fine. I did the Southeast region, it was fine. But then I did sort of a Midwest region, and she came in and said, this audience, they're very low key. They don't like to do a lot of engagement. So, I know you did a great job in the other two places, but don't be too disappointed. I'm like, challenge accepted. You're telling me what? No. And I do a lot to get the audience engaged and rowdy and loud. That's the way we do it. All right. So we want to be organized. You want to have an outstanding opening, something that grabs attention. The second part is you want to have your body. And I do this very simply. You need a subject. I tell people, have 3 subjects, 3 things you want to talk about. You might have 5 or 7, but please don't tell me 17 subjects. Oh yeah, I want to talk about these 15 things. Too many, too much, can't handle it. I want you to have generally 3 topics, 3 points that you are going to make. If you're going to be talking about engaging your audience, what are the 3 points that are going to be there? If you're going to be talking about cloud infrastructure, what are the 3 most important things your audience needs to know? I always start with that. So you're going to have 3 topics, let's say. First topic, here's what you need to know. You need to tell me what it is. You need to tell me why I care about what it is, and then what you want me to do. And then you got to have your proof. You got to have your evidence. So you're going to tell me what it is, why it's important, or why we're having this conversation. What do you want me to do with this information? Mm-hmm. And then you got to have your support. I trained as a lawyer. And so I'm going to tell the court, here's the situation, right? The situation is my client did X, Y, and Z. And the defendant did this other thing, which I think is bad. This is what happened. Then I'm going to tell them why it's important. It's important to send a message out to the general public not to do this bad thing. And now I'm going to give you my support, my evidence. In 2012, there was a case that said yada, 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 that says exactly what I'm saying here. That's what you're doing. You're presenting the evidence. How are you going to do that? You're going to do that with a story, generally a story. I like a story. Why don't we do a story? That's what we're going to do. We're going to have some sort of story that ties it together, because we adults, as I said before, we learn not just by taking in information. We learn by connecting the information to our lives, to what we have been through, what we have experienced, right? And if you tell me a story that ties in all of the information, that's going to make it stick. That's going to make me say, oh, this is actually related to me in some way. So that's what you want to do for all three of your topics, for all three of your points. What is the point? Why is it important? What do you want me to do about it? And a story. And it doesn't have to be in that order. Mm-hmm. You can flip the order, right? So that's your body. You just do that 3 times. Please have segues between the 3 times that you do that. And like I said, I always start with 3. You might have 4. You might have 5. You don't want to have more than 7, depending on how much time you have. And it also always depends on how much time you have. So we talked about be prepared.
Be prepared. Be organized.
Be organized. Okay.
Yeah, be prepared and then be organized. I think we're getting to the third one.
To finish being organized. I'm sorry, I didn't do our close.
Yeah.
You got to have a close. See how'd you guys feel? I was like, here's your beginning. Here's your middle. Off we go. Right? And a lot of you are going, what? You got to wrap it up. You got to close it off. So a lot of people miss this very important step. When you are closing, when you are wrapping it up, I need you to summarize what you just told me. I need you to tell me the 3 points that you just made, but tell them to me quick and easy so I can remember, okay, I'm going to walk away thinking 1, 2, 3, whatever those points are. So you want to summarize that before you leave me, because you may have given me a lot of information, but I want it in a nice little chunk. Tell me what you told me. Thank you very much. And the next thing you want to do is, what is your call to action? Now that you've given me all this wonderful information, thank you so much for that. What do you want me to do with it? And your call to action could be an appeal. Please donate money to our cause. Or it could be a directive. Go out there and get more sales, right? It could be a question. It can be a challenge. Mm-hmm. What do you want me to do with the information you just got me? And this is such an important moment, because if you've done your job right, if you have owned that stage that entire time, I will do anything you ask me to do at this point. You want me to sign up for something? I will do that. You want me to buy something? I might do that too, because you have owned the stage. So many entrepreneurs miss this moment, the moment where you tell them what you want them to do. I remember working with a client specifically, and he gives me the whole spiel, what the business is and what he wants them to do. And then I said, do you ever ask for the sale? Do you ever ask people to sign up with you, to hire you? And he said, no, he never asks people to hire him. He just gives them information and waits for them to figure out that they want it.
Wow.
It's interesting. I mean, you are a master salesperson, Shay, so I know that shocks you.
No, yeah, there's a lot of folks that do that. I mean, I'm not surprised that he did it. I'm just surprised the way he presented it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, no, just wait.
I'll just hang out. And maybe you'll just give me your credit card. Maybe they'll just do that. Yeah.
Maybe they'll just do that. And we miss a lot of opportunities when we don't say, this is what I want you to do. Go ahead and get out your credit card. Tell me what to do. Tell me what you want. Now, I'm my own person. I get to decide whether I'm going to do it or not. But still, you want to let the audience know what you want. It's like the Spice Girls say, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Okay. That's why I'm a speaker and not a singer. All right. So we're moving on. So that is your close. Oh, here's a key thing about the close. I would say do not end on the Q&A. People say, okay, you're going to give a 50-minute presentation. You'll leave 10 minutes for the Q&A. And that's fine. I don't mind doing a Q&A. But have you ever been in a seminar or something that is, whoa, and it's moving and it's great, and then they go to Q&A, and what happens to the energy in the room? I'm sorry. Right? The energy in the room just completely shifts when we go to the Q&A. I mean, sometimes it's interesting, but it's not the same. And I feel that we lose a little bit of control. We lose a little bit of control when we go to the Q&A. Have the Q&A, great, but I always say we're gonna have whatever the time is. I'm gonna have 5 minutes for Q&A, and then I have one last message to give to you. Because also some people, when you get to the Q&A, what do? They start packing up, making all this noise while I'm trying to talk, right? And so you don't want people to start packing up. You want them to know there's going to be a little something more. So I need you to sit still. So that's why I say, well, have the Q&A, and then I have one last point. And then I leave with my last point. And I tell people, whether you're in a meeting or on a stage, your last words, I think, need to tell me again who you are. Who are you? I know you're going to say thank you very much, but if you've given a 20-minute presentation, you told me your name at the beginning, I might not remember. But people remember the very first thing you say. They remember the very last things you say. So the very last thing to say should be your message or your tagline or your name. My name is Star Bobatoon. Thank you for your time. That sort of thing. So there you have it. Structure. That is, be organized. And the last one, the third one, is to be engaging. And we know how important this is. We have to engage our audience because there are so many distractions, especially right now where we're doing everything remote and everything video. You know what? I got 2 screens right here. I could very easily be distracted by the screen over here. People who have one screen. What? I just need to move this over here, and right over here is my email. You know what I'm saying? People have so many distractions, and so we have to be engaging. And one of the ways to be engaging, of course, is to ask questions. No one wants to hear you talk on and on and on. And I'm an attorney, and I know no one wants to hear an attorney yam, 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 except, the attorney loves to hear their voice. Okay, I'm making a statement about all attorneys, but about myself also. But ask questions. But don't just ask questions and glide over, right? Have you seen speakers who do that? Blah, 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 blah. Have you ever blah, blah, blah? Yada, yada. But did you ask me a question? Did you want me to answer? You just asked me a question and you just went on. So ask questions and leave time for that interaction. Another way to be engaged, I love to have people raise their hand. I always have people, when I'm in a live training, get up and do something. I always have training when I'm in a live training. And I do this pretty much in the beginning. You know how you go to a meeting or you go to a training and the speaker will ask for participation, and those same 3 people always speak. And there are other people who are annoyed. Oh my God, why is Cheryl talking again? She always talks. I'm like, okay, Janice, but you didn't speak. Because Janice needs a different type of invitation to speak. So one of the things I do is I give them an assignment where they work on something by themselves, and then they have a conversation with a neighbor. See, people are more inclined to speak to a neighbor than they are to stand up in front of a room full of 200 people. Right? Some people can't do it. Shay, you would have no problem with that. I would have no problem with that. But some people, it's intimidating. And so I get them to participate on a one-on-one level, or maybe a 1-on-5 if they're working at a table. Get them talking. When I do that, they are more likely to talk in front of the whole group because they've built up their confidence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's another way for you to be engaging. People love to talk to each other. They love to talk to each other. So give them opportunities to actually share. Some of my trainings that I've done for corporations, they say the best part was actually talking to the person in the seat next to them, because though they work in the same office for 6 years, they haven't had these kinds of conversations. They haven't connected in this way. And so they love that conversation. We speakers, we think it's all about us, right? We're doing all the talking. And it's not. A lot of times people need to do that talking. So those are some ideas for engagement. But I got to tell you, The most important way to engage, the most powerful way to engage is with a story. We grow up listening to stories, right? If I were to say once upon a time, right? You say once upon, look at you smiling. See, we didn't plan that. You say once upon a time, people start smiling. Why?
Yeah.
Because it makes them feel good because they remember stories, right? I love that. They remember the stories of the past. This is how we grow up. This is how we gather information. So you want to tell a story. You not only want to tell a story, you want to tell your story, right? You want people to connect. You want to be engaging. Tell me something about you, right? And don't gloss over it, right? We sometimes we want to gloss over the hard parts and the doubt that we've had because we think, oh, the audience is going to think I'm weak. No, 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 no. You want to share that with people because if you gloss over it, people think to themselves, I've got no connection. I've got no connection. I remember working with a client, and she had a relationship with a bank, and she decided to go into her business. She's been with this bank like 6-7 years. She knows the people firsthand, right? Mm-hmm. So she pulls together a business plan, and she's all excited, and then she goes in and talks to the banker, and the banker says, yeah, you've got no collateral. There's no way we're going to give you a loan, right? And she says, so I just decided that I would finance myself and I'd help other people do that. All right, that's great. That's great. But what happened when they told you no? Well, I just decided to do it myself. I'm like, no, you didn't. You did not. And that's how we like to tell a story. We tell a story like that. This bad thing happened and I just decided to go on. And see, me as an audience member, when bad stuff happens to me, I fall apart a little bit. Thank you. And so if you're telling me bad stuff happened to you and you didn't fall apart, bad stuff happened to you and you just went on, I'm thinking we got nothing in common. We got nothing in common. And I'm like, that is very good for you. There's no connection to me, right? And so we dug in, and that's one of the things I love to do when I work with speakers. I love to dig in. And some people get annoyed with me because I'm going to dig. I'm an attorney. I'm going to dig, and I'm going to dig, and I'm going to, well, what did you feel about that? Well, what did you think about that? Well, what happened then? No, take me moment by moment. And that's what I told her. You're sitting in the office. I'm going to bring her back. You're in the office. You're across the desk. And there is David. Dave, this guy that you have known by name. You know his children's name. You have a relationship. And David tells you no. In that moment, you're sitting there. What do you feel? And she said, I felt like I had gotten kicked in the stomach. All of the air rushed out of my body. I could barely get myself up to walk out of there. And I'm like, and then what happened? What happened after that? I decided to do it on my own. I'm like, no, you did not. So you're walking home. What were you feeling? What were you thinking? And she thought, she shared that she felt that that she'd been betrayed. She didn't understand. She told me she went home and she cried all night long, because there was no way for her to do this dream. And in the middle of her tears, she got an idea. So she got a pad and a paper and she started writing some things down, how she wished things were. She wished that there was another place where she could go and, and get the finances she needed for her business. And that's when the idea came. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a whole different story, Shay. That's a whole different story from they told me no and I decided to do it on my own. Okay, yeah. But when you say how she felt kicked in the stomach, how many times have you felt kicked in the stomach when something didn't work out for you? See, that's what people can relate to.
Sorry, I just had an ouch just now. Just thinking
and when people relate, they go, yes, you know my pain. Yeah. We are one. We are kin. Yeah, and now they're going to listen to you, right? Now they're going to, because you shared the whole of your story. And it's an issue people have. How much do I share? Don't want them to know that I was weak. I want to know because me, audience member, I've got my weaknesses too. So you want to tell a story, and the story needs to be organized. I'm going to give you 3 steps to tell a story. You ready? Here it
Yep.
is.
3 steps. Love it.
Once upon a time, then one day, and now. That's it. That's how you tell a story. That is the Pixar way to tell a story, right? Once upon a time, then one day, and now. Once upon a time, there was a fish named Nemo who lived on the coral with his father. Then one day, Nemo ran away, had amazing adventures, came back home, and now Nemo lives in the coral with his father, but they both have a better understanding of what Nemo is capable of. Ta-da! That's your story. Once upon a time, then one day, and now. That's how you can structure your story. Now, if you need to expand that story, it's once upon a time, then one day, and then, and then, and then, and then, and now. So that's an easy way to structure a story. So there you go. Those are your 3. Those are your 3. Be prepared, be organized, and be engaging.
Wow, you've just broken down and make something so complicated. You make it seem so very, very easy. And this is what you do with your clients, I understand. This is what you do in your training. So this isn't just a typical, well, go tell a story and go figure it out, or just say hello to everybody. You're kind of sharing the psychology behind why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you think most speakers don't do that? Most presenters just don't do it. Although they may have heard it before, they just don't use these techniques.
A lot of people think that being a speaker means standing up and speaking. A lot of people don't pay attention to what they're even doing, right? It's like they're a speaker and they're successful, but why are you successful? I don't know. I just get out there and do it. And they don't know. A lot of people just don't know. And I think a lot of people don't get help, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a speaker. I know how to speak. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do it. And sometimes it takes an outside eye to take a look and say, hey, you're missing this good point. I have, my speaker friends from the Les Brown era of our lives, my speaker friends from then, sometimes we call each other up and say, hey, I've got this story, I'm doing blah, blah, blah. And someone on the outside says, that's good, but you forgot about this and you forgot about that. Or why don't you add a little bit of this? A lot of people don't continue to learn. Now, I feel that I am a master speaker and storyteller and trainer, but I still go to training, right? I actually just went through the last 4 weeks. I've taken every training possible on Zoom, every training possible on WebEx, so that this is the new environment. So I got to know how to participate in this environment. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to advance my skill. So I think that might be part of it, feeling that you already know and that you don't need to go any deeper.
Yeah, and these skills that you're sharing with, they are transferable in this time that we're in right now, where folks are building and owning their stage online. I like how you started off. Anytime you speak, wherever you are, that is an imaginary stage. That is a stage. Talk about the importance of being able to communicate through the power of these fiber optic lines, which is what you're doing right now, just so very effectively, but you're still using the techniques. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, still using the techniques of engagement. And it's harder online because we speakers, we feed off the energy in the room. We feed off your faces. We can feel your energy. And so when we're in a situation like this that is devoid of people, that means we've got to create our own energy. You've got to create our own energy. You have to know, where to look. Because of course, if I look here at you, it looks like I'm not really looking at the audience, but I've got to learn to look in the camera. So that means you got to learn to look in a camera and emote as if you are looking at a person. Of course, I spent 10 years as an actress. So looking in the camera is something that I can do, that I've trained to do. But for a lot of people, you've got to learn to do that. You've got to learn to bring your own energy, bring your personality out, and focus it right there. I feel that you have to get dressed. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I feel that you have to get dressed. For a lot of people, now that we're on this stage, they're coming to the stage as if they're going upstairs to get a drink of water. You know what I'm saying? They're not pulling it together. This is a stage. Be presentable for that stage. And I'm sure most people already know that you need to lift up your laptop so that it's eye level, because a lot of people are doing their things like this. They're looking down, and then people get to look up your face. Not a good look. So that's one of the things for people to think about as well. People get in front of a camera and they freeze up. Right? They just freeze up. You can still move and be. And that's an important part. Now, for me, I've also been a dancer. I studied at Alvin Ailey when I was a younger person. So I'm very easy with my body. I'm very easy to flow, but people can learn to do that too. And all of those things are engaging.
Mhm.
Those are all engaging things as well.
Right.
There you have it. I hope I answered the question.
No, you answered the question. You were spot on. And the point that you made is that you can be anywhere and you still own that stage. And you are applying fundamentals. You're applying principles. Just like anything in life, things change. You got a number of folks out there. Mary Figures that's watching. Dr. Connett that's watching right now. Mary Fison that's watching. Deborah Gardner out in Phoenix. Wonderful person that's watching as well. And so many like Stacy, thanks a lot, that are watching, tuning in as you are communicating right now and teaching us step by step how to own the stage. Everyone do me a favor right now. Hit that share button. Hit that share button. And when you hit the share button, just write those words. Own your stage. Hashtag Star Bobatoon. Just put own your stage. Hashtag Star Bobatoon. So for all of you had that prevailing wisdom that you're not sure if you can do it because you don't see the audience, they're not there. She just said, no. You can be anywhere and you still have to tell your story. You still got to communicate. Stars, you was breaking this down. I love this whole thing you're doing, own your stage. One of the core values that we have here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show is today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are out there watching right now, and you know what I'm about to do, you can look below the video and write, today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are hearing it for the very first time, I'm like, what in the LL Cool J is Shay talking about, right? You can imagine the saying, today is my January 1st. And that represents the thousands of moments throughout the day where you get to make a decision. And that decision could forever change the trajectory of your life, right? So I always like to say you either decide to go to the gym or you sit back and say, I'm going to watch Netflix and binge watch. Or you decide you're going to eat hamburgers and French fries, or you make a different decision. You go to your refrigerator, you open up and say, nope. I'm going to have some spinach. I'll take some of that. I have some kale. I'll take some of that. There's even some Brussels sprouts. That sounds good to some of y'all. I'll take some of that. And that's a January 1st moment. You create it. My question to you, Star, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? What does it mean to you?
3 words: decide, believe, take action. So, Shay, have you ever had a time in your life where everything was absolutely falling apart and you just couldn't find a break? Have you had a moment like that?
Yes.
Most of us have. I remember being in that situation. My husband and I had just bought our first house. We were so excited. Now, it was a dog of a house, but it was in a great neighborhood, and it didn't matter because we had great big dreams. See, we were going to take off the roof and add a second story. We were going to add these bedrooms, for the children. We were going to have one day. We're going to have a little boy, a little girl. And so that was the plan. And so we get a contractor and we take off the roof. And what do you think happens?
There are more problems.
It rains. No, wait, no. It doesn't rain. It monsoons. Now, I'm in Southern California, where it's always a lovely 72 degrees. But I take the roof off of my house and it rains. It rained for 3 days. Shay, my house was ruined. We had beautiful cherry wood floors. They were a rumble. We had the plaster walls were molding. We had a beautiful vaulted ceiling that was falling down. Our dream was falling down. And so we go to the contractor and we show the damage. Look what happened. And the contractor takes absolutely no responsibility for the damage. So we fire him, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't change the fact that every dime we owned was in this house, and now it was gone, right? And there's a saying, just when you think it can't get any worse, what happens?
It gets worse.
It gets worse. The contractor sued us. He wanted to get paid the rest of the money, even though he destroyed our house. So let's just take some inventory, shall we? Yeah. We are penniless. We are homeless, and now we're being sued. Now, the only good thing that I had going on for me is that I worked in a law firm, in downtown Los Angeles, and I worked for a partner of the law firm. So I go to Tom to ask for his help. Now, I'm expecting Tom's going to give me the phone number of someone who'll help me out, or maybe even take the case himself. Wouldn't that be great? So that's what I'm expecting. That is not what happens. Tom walks me into the law library. He tells me, read a book, write a memo, and handle the case myself. I looked at him like he was out of his mind. Have you met me? I am a legal secretary. I've got a 2-year degree from junior college. It took me 6 years to get that 2-year degree from junior college, and it was in photography. Right? I've got great pictures of the house. But the idea that I'm going to go up against a seasoned attorney, he's got a college degree, a law degree, and 10 years experience. There's no way that I could do that. Right? My life was completely falling apart, and I thought this guy was going to help me. And I did what any professional woman would do in a time like that. I cried. I did, but you've been there where you are straddling the fence between fear and faith, and you want to hold on to the faith, but the fear is kicking your behind, and that is where I was. I'll never forget this. Tom, he reaches out his hand, puts it on my shoulder, and he says, "Star, I believe in you. I believe you can do this." That, ladies and gentlemen, was my defining moment. That, ladies and gentlemen, was my January 1st. Now, in that moment, I had a choice to make. And this is where those 3 words come out: decide, believe, take action. In that moment, I decided that this situation was not going to get the best of me, that I was going to get the best of it. Hello, January 1st. I believe that I could, wait. You know what? I didn't really believe that I could do it. I didn't, but Tom believed in me. And Les Brown says that sometimes you have to believe in someone else's belief in you until your own belief kicks in. Tom believed in me, and that was enough to get me started. And the next thing is to take action. And a lot of times we are scared. We are afraid to take action because we don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes the action seems so big, so huge. How are we possibly going to do this? But Brian Tracy says that when you have these big, ugly, bodacious goals, you got to break them down. You got to break them down into small parts. See, now Tom didn't say, "Star, tomorrow go into a courtroom and defend your case in front of the jury." He didn't say that, because had he said that, I would have run out the door, right? But that's not what he said. What he said was, read a book, write a memo. Heck, I was in junior college for 6 years. I can read a book and write a memo, right? So I did that. And he supported me through the next step and the next step and the next step. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? I won that case. I blew it out of the water. It was amazing. That other side did not know what hit him. He didn't know who I was. And to be honest, neither did I. But Tom knew who I was, and with his encouragement, I did that. So to answer the question right there, that was my January 1st. And the way I made January 1st, the first day of the rest of my life, the way I made that day change the entire trajectory of my life is to decide, to believe, and to take action. So I don't know where you are, and I don't know what your goals are, and I don't know what you're stuck in, but I think you can use those 3 words, those 3 keys, those 3 characteristics to get to where you need to be. So yeah, that's my January 1st.
I love it. Today is my January 1st. Y'all look below the video right now. You've laid that out, but you added on the second part to it. I'm always learning. I'm always expanding. She said, today is your January 1st, but you have to do what? You said,
you got to decide, you got to believe, you got to take action.
See, now we got a part 2. There was a part 2 that was missing before we got here, and I'm always learning. I'm on the front row. Whenever Star is talking, whenever she's telling a story, whenever she's teaching, whenever she's training, you should be on the front row. I'm on the front row taking notes even right now. That's a part 2 to today is my January 1st. Oh, Star, that was magical. There are folks out there that want to stay in a conversation with you, Star, and they want to know how they can best stay in the conversation. How can they connect with you? I know you believe in the giver's economy. The person that outgives the competition out-earns the competition. For those folks that are wondering right now, this is some good stuff. I know it's coming to an end, but this is some good stuff. How can they continue this conversation? How can they continue to be in contact with you? What's the best way to do that?
So the best way to do that is to my website, starbobatoon.com, starbobatoon.com. You can send me an email at star@starbobatoon.com, star@starbobatoon.com. But also I have a gift for everyone. And this gift has to do with storytelling. It's 5 keys to a captivating story. So this is a 5-part video series that will give you the instructions, the tips, the strategies to up-level your story. I like to say to pimp your story. So in order to do that, you can text me. You can do a text message. So, and I wrote it down here to make sure I have it. So you're going to text the word "my story."
Text the word "my story." My story is all one word. Is that correct?
All one word, my story.
Okay, they're looking at it now. Text the word "my story." And for those folks who listen to the podcast, Star, you got to kind of walk them through it because everyone is not watching live. Many folks listen on the podcast, they've downloaded. So tell them exactly what they need to do. Get your pen, get your paper out because she's walking through something that's very important. It's not just about why you're texting, but it's what you're going to receive. And that's very important.
So you're going to text the word "my story," one word altogether, "my story," to the number 42828, 42828. And nowadays people know how to do that. You know, you would generally put my name or my phone number, you put in 42828. In the spot where you would generally put LOL, that's where you're going to put "my story." And you can also contact me, like I said, email and website. I'm going to spell my name for you. It's STAR as in twinkle, twinkle, B as in boy, O, B as in boy, ATOON, B as in boy, O, B as in boy, ATOON.
They're on your website now. They're confirming that the website works. Sometimes these websites don't work, Star. Nothing personal. Things do happen. You're on the website right now. And when they get to the website, they can look and learn all about your programs, learn all about you. Oh, this is some cool stuff. Brian Thomas. Oh, she's got the list. She's got the proof. It's in the pudding. If you had to tell one story, Star, and I know you could tell many of them, of someone that you work with, and this is where they were once upon a time, and then okay, it's not funny. But if you could tell a story of one of your clients that you work with along this journey of life, and maybe you can't mention their name, But here's where they were, and there's where they are today. Who comes to mind, or what's the example you would like to share? There's so many above this. So you guys are like, oh, Shay, I want to go see it for myself. You can go read it. For those that can't read right now, that are listening right now, and maybe you're doing something, you're not over on her website, starbobatoon.com. I just asked her to give just one story, just to brag on one example that maybe someone she's worked with. And she worked with so many, so I know that's kind of hard.
I worked with a lot of people. Oh, that's hard, Shay. It's hard.
Just give us one sample.
So I want to talk about Daphne. Daphne Wright, and she's on my website. Daphne is she's a CPA. She's an amazing CPA, and she thought of this brilliant idea of how to teach people about money and how to take care of it. But she felt she didn't have a voice. She felt insecure. And, one of the things that I work with people is I will work with you on your story. Absolutely. But there's always the backstory, right? There's always that limited belief story. And a lot of times that story, that's the one that keeps you from moving forward, for doing the things that you want to do. So when I coach people, and I coach them on speaking, we're always going to talk about that other story. And part of her story was she didn't think that she had the authority. She didn't think that she had the right, the confidence to share this new discovery that she made, or this new way of teaching people. And so that was part of what we worked on. We worked on dealing with that story and what I call rewriting that story. Right? Because we have the ability to rewrite the story. The story that we think we have is not the whole story. And so I worked with her. We did my 6-month program. I worked with her, and the beauty is watching her bloom, where she felt so much more empowered. And we broke down the information, because also she's a CPA. She has a certain way of thinking and a certain way of dispensing information. We had to shift that a little bit. We had to do the be organized part, and the be engaged part, so that we could make it so that people will get it and understand. And we worked together. And I remember she called me up. She was in tears. She called me up because she had a speaking engagement, and it went phenomenal. And she was approached by Howard University to teach classes there. She was blown away, because 6 months earlier, she didn't know she even had anything. 6 months earlier, she didn't even know that she really had a voice. And to make that transformation, it was amazing. And that's what I live for. That's what we live for. We live to make a positive impact on the lives of others. And if we're not doing that, then we are not living. And so that was one story, but I have dozens of stories like that. I have the story of another CPA who helped people, especially women, deal with retirement, and a lot of women were avoiding it. And so she worked with me. She only did a 6-week period. She worked with me, and she started closing 4 times as many people, because she would go to a room and she would close 1 or 2. But she worked with me. She went to a room. She's closing 9 and 10. She's closing most of the people in the room. Why? Because we clarified her message, right? We organized her message. We made the message fit the audience, and we gave it in a way that people were like, yes, that's what I want. So those are a couple of examples.
This is amazing. Totally incredible. This has been one of those conversations that which can go on and on and on, because when the question is asked, when do you stop learning? The obvious answer is you never stop learning. And you love to continue to teach. You have a heart to give. You have this heart to serve. So I do want to say thank you on behalf of the Happy Entrepreneur Show for being here, for taking this time. We know you can always make more money. There's not a doubt on anybody's mind right now that you can always make more money. But the question has to come up. None of us, myself or any of us, can make more time. We can always make more money, but we can't make more time. So I want to give it over to you, Star, as I say thank you. For those folks that are out there, you can give Star a digital applause. And how do you give a digital applause? You look right below the video and you share your big takeaway, because your big takeaway could be someone else's big breakthrough. So, or you could just write, thank you, Star. Or you can write, we appreciate you, Star. Or just great job, Star Bobatoon, for the time that she spent that she cannot get back. So, Star, I want to give it over to you. I know you agreed to give your final thoughts. Some people don't give their final thoughts, but you said, oh, Shay, I'll share my final thoughts and comments with the audience, and we certainly appreciate that. So once again, thank you so much. Got to have you back. We got to have you back. We got to do that. But I want to turn it over to you to close us out. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. And so I'm the creator of something called Star Points. Star Points are short motivational messages designed to uplift and empower. And I guess you can see my books right there. And so they're called Star Points because, my name is Star and I'm about to make a point. And so I created this new Star Point recently, and it is called Set the Precedent. Now, based on what we are going through right now, these are unprecedented times. That's what you hear on the news. That's what everybody is saying. It's unprecedented. And my theory is this. If these are unprecedented times, that is an opportunity for us to set the precedent, to decide how we are going to show up, to decide how we are going to react, to decide where we are going from here. We get to set the precedent. So I remember when I was a baby attorney, just started working at the law firm. And so we were defense litigators. And in the law, you always follow precedent, meaning you always follow what happened before. We want to get the court to do what happened before. Mm-hmm. And so the partner says to me, okay, Star, here's our position. Here's what we're going to argue. We go find me some precedent. Excellent. So I'm an eager beaver attorney. So I go and I do the research. And I'm researching and I'm searching. And I find things that are kind of close. And I find things that are almost on point. But I'm not finding the exact precedent that's going to be our home run. Right. And I go back to the partner that this is one of my favorite partners to work with. So I'm not happy about the fact that I have to tell him that I failed. So I go and I talk to Jim and I say, I can't find anything that's directly on point. And what he said to me rocked my little lawyer mind, just shook me up. He said, take what you have that works and make up the rest. What? Make up the rest? This is the law. The law is the law. You don't just make up the law, but apparently you do. Apparently the law is this dynamic thing that is always moving and changing. And no, I didn't know that before I went to law school. And so he said, you take what you know, you take what you have, and where there are gaps, you get to make it up and you get to drive the point you want to make. So that the court will then accept that as the new precedent. So here we are. We are going through an unprecedented time. We are going through a time we have never been through. Our generation has never been. As a matter of fact, our country has never been through this. But here's what I know. You have been through some things. You have been through some hard times. You have had some challenges. You have had some lows in your life. And what I know is that you got over them. What I know is that you're still here. What I know is that you have something inside of you that got you through. You have precedent on things similar to this, things that are around this. So here's what you get to do. You get to take the precedent of what you've been through, what you know you can do, and you get to make up the rest. You get to set the precedent of what this time will mean. 20 years when you're looking back, you get to set the precedent of how you go forward, of how you show up, of where you go in your life. You get to set the precedent. Yes, these are unprecedented times, but that gives us the opportunity to set the precedent. My name is Star Bobatoon, and that is your Star Point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Star. She's in the house. Your boy said, I'll say a saying, show up for your life. He said he's in the house. He's been watching on the front row as well. None other than Andy Henriquez. And all of you out there, Everett, and so many of you, Thanks for tuning in. I want you to know that you're amazing. Every one of you are incredible. And I know for you that today is your January 1st. You get to set the precedence. Today is your January 1st. You get to own the stage. Today is your January 1st. And the best is still yet to come. With that being said, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. My name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. We'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life is short. Live in the moment and make it count. God bless. Thanks a lot, Star. We appreciate you, man. Thank you. And thank all y'all for watching. Make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you hit the like button, and we'll see you on the other side. Out. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there.